who got the better deal? Was it United getting Sanchez or Arsenal getting Mkhitaryan and then signing Aubameyang?
I think United getting Sanchez. For me personally, I think because he can play across the front three, he can play on his own up top. For me, he's a world-class player, you know, and I think he's the one who can change things. And I think he's something that makes.
What went wrong against Spurs then?
Well, Trippier just pushed him back. I mean, I thought it was a lot of money for a left-back, Sanchez. You know, I thought because that's exactly where he was playing the other night. You know, because Mourinho's teams are diligent. He wants people to track. He wants them to do that workman-like job. And Sanchez is at his best when he's conserving his energy and producing in the final third. Yeah. That's what he would have had if he went to Man City. But he decided to take the extra money, go to Man United, which is a huge club in its own right, and we know that. And good luck to him, but he's going to have to do that job. If he wants to stay in that team, because Rashford would have been better suited to doing that job against Trippier the other night, because every time they got good possession in midfield, their fullbacks pushed on, and they pushed Sanchez back. And he was playing left-back most of the time. And for me, it's a lot of money for a left-back.
Jermaine, the question coming out of the game against Tottenham in the week was, how can Jose Mourinho accommodate all these attacking players? And we've seen a reaction to that straight away. The team news from today, Pogba and Martial both dropped from the United squad. You surprised by that?
Surprised by Martial. I think the fact that, you know, he's played very well for a long period of time, Martial. Obviously, he likes to play from the left-hand side, and Sanchez is going to be taking that role now. But to drop him on the basis of that...
They're both on the bench, by the way. But...
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's also one of those games he's probably looking at and going, look, I've got some big games coming up. Maybe this is the time for me to rotate as well. So maybe we shouldn't read too much into it. Yes, it's off the back of a very disappointing situation midweek and something specifically that went on between Pogba, obviously, and Mourinho. I eventually see Man United going to a 4-3-3. Okay. I think you've got to get the best out of Pogba. Put two in there who were more disciplined.
Instant reaction to that, actually, JJ. Miles Bailey on Twitter says, it's a shame Jose can't see Pogba's poor performance was partly his fault. I'm baffled by Mo's determination to persist with 4-2-3-1 when 4-3-3 suits our squad much better.
I think it does now, yeah. I mean, it probably has previously. I've always felt, when I watch Pogba, he's restricted. When I watched him at Juve, and he had Pirlo and Vidal next to him, and it was like, go and express yourself, go and create. That's what you do. Yeah. And then I think it was Deschamps that dropped him into a 2 in the Euros, and I kind of went, you're trying to turn him into this Vieira-type player, and it's not him. He's way too creative for that. So I think eventually, like you got all these players you've signed, you know, Martial, Alexis Sanchez, and so on. Pogba's still one of your most creative players, and how do you get the best out of him? Yep. And that is one of the questions Mourinho's still got to ask himself.
More reaction. Cora O'Donnell says Pogba dropped, maybe just play him in his best position. Jose might solve the problem. Jared C says dropping Pogba doesn't surprise me, expecting the papers to run with this for the next few days and beyond.
Listen, I think, because he's not playing, as JJ said, he's got plenty more games ahead of him. He's got Champions League coming up. So he might have rested him, and, you know, looking at the long picture. And people say, well, he's been dropped, it's been dropped. It might not have been dropped, he might have just been rested. Yeah. He will see today against Huddersfield that it's a game that he can probably rest a Pogba and a Martial. But I just think when you bring Sanchez into the fold, doesn't mean Pogba's got to drop back. He can't sit alongside the two. You know, at Juventus, he was going left, he was going right. He had a free will to do what he wanted to do. Getting restricted ain't going to benefit Man United.
Big game against Huddersfield today, though, for United, isn't it, Paul? It
is. I mean, obviously, the way after the Tottenham game, they need to bounce back. It's probably the worst time to get Man United. But listen, at the end of the day, Huddersfield won't stay up on Man United. They'll stay up on Bournemouth next week and West Brom and Brighton. Teams like that. So if they can get something, great. But I don't expect anything today.
Huddersfield obviously beating United in the reverse fixture in October 2-1. Are you expecting anything, any more surprises today, Tim?
No, you can't really. I mean, you couldn't give him a chance on paper, could you? But, I mean, he's got a good collective spirit there at Huddersfield. And, yeah, he have a game plan, he'll go to it and try and make it difficult for Man United. But it'd be exactly that. It'd be so difficult, I think, Man United. And Lukaku will get on the score sheet today.